Hello and welcome to our presentation on employee attrition and churn prediction analysis on the IBM HR attrition dataset. Firstly, I would like to introduce you to the team. Myself, Niall Daly, Ganesh Deshade, Shreya Gujal, and Anish Mansadar. I will now talk you through the processes we followed as a team in order to complete this project. Throughout this project, we followed the Agile methodology for project management. We also developed a OneNote for all team members to access and update as the project moved forward. We kept a detailed track of factors such as minutes of meetings, along with strict adherence to the work breakdown structure, which we created as a team in the planning stage. One of the main questions which arises in companies today is, why do employees stay with or leave the company, and what can we do about this? Many companies use employee surveys as a way of assessing workforce turnover. However, the success of these surveys requires a level of truthfulness which in many cases is lacking. A Harvard Business Review study highlighted the alarming statistic that 58% of workers are more likely to trust strangers than their own bosses. The level of distrust among managers and subordinates results in biased or flawed survey conclusions in many instances. This information is simply too unreliable. The answer to this? The use of predictive analytics for anticipating workforce attrition. The value of uncovering employee retention or churn insights has endless benefits for a company. Possibly the most significant is the cost associated with losing staff. Companies which experience high attrition rates face the burden of increased financial stress in terms of the hiring and training of new talent. On average, organizations spend between 4 weeks and 3 months training in new staff. This is a significant investment. Should the employee leave within the first 2 years, this investment would be seen as a considerable loss. Studies show that the average cost of losing an employee is as high as 33% of their salary. There are many misperceptions associated with employee attrition and management's views on this. The use of predictive analytics can help defeat inadequate perception-based drivers which lead to poor business decisions. For instance, 89% of employers believe that the main factor in employee turnover is salary or wage related. However, studies show that only 12% of employees leave their jobs over salary. This misperception results in poor decision making by senior management, who are the target stakeholder of this project. Along with poor decision making, a level of mistrust creeps into the relationship, impacting negatively on the company. Predictive analytics can improve the company's retention strategy through its reliance on data analytics and removal of human emotion. For this project, we analyzed the variables which factor into an employee's happiness and their likelihood to remain at the company, rather than merely asking the employee whether or not they were happy. To predict employee turnover, we considered hard values or factual information on employees which the company already possessed as per the dataset used. This included, but was not limited to, job role, age, job involvement, years at company, years since last promotion, distance from home, and department. As the targeted stakeholder in this project is senior management within the company, the importance of conducting this analysis will resonate particularly with them. As we aim to highlight, the integration of a culture of data reliance within the management team can be attained through the utilization and optimization of predictive analytics. The reliance on data will result in the elimination of emotional or knee-jerk reactions to unfavorable department trends. The dataset we have chosen to analyze is the IBM HR attrition dataset. This dataset contains information regarding 1,470 employees, including a wide range of variables. We chose this dataset based upon the cost-saving measures that can be applied to a company when implementing or updating their retention strategies with the help of predictive analytics. First, we imported all the relevant packages that are needed for this kind of analysis. This included importing pandas for data manipulation, analysis, and cleaning, NumPy for scientific computing, matplotlib to aid in the creation of our visuals along with other packages. The next step of the process was to read the CSV file into the data frame for reference throughout. We then checked the first and last 10 rows of data as part of the data understanding stage. In order to get the size of the dataset, we used the dataFrame.shape function, and this returned a value of 1,470 rows and 35 columns. For all the variables, we had to check the data type in each one. Next, we performed descriptive statistics of the dataset to get a more meaningful understanding of that dataset. Finally, we checked to see if there were any null values within the given dataset.
Hi, I am Anish Mansabdar. Visualization is an extremely important tool in terms of representation and presentation of data in order to facilitate the understanding. Oftentimes, many senior management employees think that vast data sheets and spreadsheets offer no real benefit as they miss out the important insights. In terms of our analysis, we explored the possibility of any trends or correlations the data may reveal once we visualized it through the use of graphs, plots, and charts. The first of our visualization was to simply identify the number of employees who have left the company versus the number of employees who have remained in the company. Following on this, we decided to visualize employee attrition based upon gender. As evident in the bar chart, there is in fact a higher number of males at the company, and based upon this, it is not surprising that the attrition rates are slightly higher than that of females. Next, we see the number of employees who have left and stayed at the company by age. Based upon this, we can safely assume the attrition is particularly high in the ages of 29 and 31. This may be as a result of stagnant career development opportunities or lack of promotion. On the other hand, we can see that employee retention is highest in the ages of 34 to 35 years old. This could be due to the reason that they might be settling down or starting families at this age where stability is necessary. We then added in years at current role into analysis. As you can see from this, employees aged 29 to 31 and who are between 0 and 6 years in the current role are at risk of leaving the company. In order to delve deeper into an analysis on gender, we decided to go one step further and visualize the data on employees who left the organization based on gender across various departments with highest attrition levels. By doing so, we have highlighted a worrying trend in research and development department and sales department with attrition levels particularly high. High attrition in the sales department could mean that relationships between sales representative and customers may also be affected, leading to a significant time and effort. There may be a loss of valued customers as they may follow sales representatives to a competing company. All things considered, the fact that attrition levels are so high in these departments will definitely lead to a significant losses in terms of time and money. Our next visualization was for employees who left the organization based upon gender and their job involvement at the company. As we can see from the chart, attrition levels are particularly low in low and very high job involvement roles. This may be down to the fact that employees in low involvement roles do not have the stress of performance levels and therefore are happy in their roles. Based on our analysis, employees in high involvement roles have low attrition rates as their salary reflects the high involvement along with increased responsibility. The high levels of attrition in the high job involvement roles is quite worrying. This may be down to the fact that employees feel as though they are not being rewarded for the hard work they have been putting into the company. Perhaps promotions or increasing salary may resolve this issue. Employees are creatures of habit. Any change to their normal schedule can result in lack of productivity or distractions from the task at hand. In certain instances, the continuation change of roles or management can result in an employee leaving the company, as can be seen in this chart. There is a significant drop in attrition levels when employees experience a level of stability that is acceptable to them. And increasing onboarding efforts by managers when it comes to new team members should also be promoted by senior management. From our introduction, you'll remember the worrying statistics associated with loss of employees along with investment in training new talent and onboarding efforts. From the chart below, we can see that the attrition is highest among employees who have worked at the company for 1 to 2 years. A significant loss is experienced when losing employees at this early stage. The below graph gives us insight into work-life balance and the employee count. It clearly says that though the work-life balance had been the best, the employee still left the company. The distance from home graph gives understanding that though employees stayed near their offices, left the company more than those who stayed far, so distance was never a problem for their exit from the company. Taking into consideration the business travel, usually we think more people leave because of travel, but the graph depicts otherwise. It clearly says employees who traveled rarely left the company more than those who traveled frequently. The below visualization on years since last promotion is a lowering curve, that is, majority of the employees after being promoted left the company soon, and the graph clearly says that maybe they got a better opportunity on salary hike outside the current organization after being promoted.
Thanks, Anish. Myself, Shreya. Here we are preparing the data for predictive analysis. We are keeping the actual data frame intact and creating a copy of the data frame for further analysis. And then we are dropping the columns employee count and over 18 as they are unnecessary for our analysis. The column employee count contains value 1 for all the rows and column over 18 contains value yes for all the rows. We are then changing the sequence of the data frame by keeping the dependent column iteration in the first and all the other columns next. Iteration would be our dependent variable. As it contains non-numeric values, we'll replace the values yes and no with 1 and 0 respectively and convert it to integer. For training a model, it is necessary that all columns must contain numeric values. Hence, all non-numeric columns are converted to numeric columns by creating dummies. Now we have a data frame that contains all the numeric columns. We then delete the columns which we created the dummies for and add the actual dummies to the data frame. We have assigned the dependent variable iteration to y and all the other columns except iteration to independent variable x. Further, we divide the data set into 70% training and 30% training testing data set by random selection. We are using 3 different predictive models, that is random forest classifier, logistic regression and naive Bayes classifier for predicting the iteration of the employees. The reason for choosing random forest classifier is that due to its randomness feature, it does not overfit the model and it provides importance to features in the dataset which is essential to find out the actual dependent feature for employee iteration. We are training the random forest classifier using 70% of the dataset. After fitting the training dataset in the model, we check for the accuracy of the training dataset. And in this case, we have 98.34 accuracy for the training dataset. We are predicting the iteration for the test dataset and when we check for the accuracy of the test dataset, it is 85.48. We are storing the predicted output in the separate data frame and are displaying only the employees who are most likely to leave the organization.
Thanks Shreya. Myself Ganesh Dasade. As Shreya explained about random forest algorithm, and we select that because it is one of the best supervised learning algorithm, but we think to implement logistic regression model on our dataset because it is most likely used in customer chain prediction. Before going ahead, first we clean our test dataset. For that we use if function to check the prediction column exists or not. If yes, then it will delete that column. If not, then it will keep that dataset as it is. Now we are proceeding to build the logistic regression model. We use sklearn linear model package and import logistic regression library. Now we create instance of logistic regression model using logistic regression class in that library. We are training that logistic regression model using 70% training dataset. After fitting the training dataset in the model, we check the accuracy for the training dataset, which is in this case 89%. We are predicting the iteration for the test dataset. We can see that the accuracy for the test dataset is almost 90%, which is more than the random forest. We are storing the predicted output in a separate data frame and displaying only those employees who are more likely to leave the organization. So organization should focus on those employees and try to solve their concern, which help them to keep those employees in the organization. We follow similar process and try to train the naive Bayes algorithm model using 70% training dataset, as naive Bayes algorithm also one of the best customer chain prediction algorithm. But for this dataset, we found that the training and the prediction accuracy for naive Bayes algorithm model is very low as compared to the other two models. Due to this, we avoid this model for further analysis. On the basis of prediction accuracy, we found that logistic regression produces more accurate result on this particular dataset. So we are now fetching that result in an Excel format for those employees who are most likely to churn in from the organization. As you see, after running this command, the data frame was exported in an Excel format and saved in a provided location, such that stakeholders work with those employees and try to change their mind of the leaving organization. To help stakeholders, we try to find out which are the top 15 feature influence employee to churn. For that, we use sklearn feature selection package and import select k-based library. We implement select k-based function on independent and dependent column of the dataset, and we found below 15 feature which more likely to influence the employee for attrition. We create one data frame which store all top 15 feature column for those employees whose attrition is S in the original data frame. Using that data frame, we implement the heat map which show the correlation between each feature which most likely influence employee to churn. For example, year in current role with the year with current manager, it is found that 78% correlation. Similarly, stakeholder can consider this feature and look into how they can retain those employees who are predicted more likely to be churned in future. This will help organization to stop employee attrition and save loss because of the employee attrition.
Employee turnover is a natural part of any business environment. However, it is vitally important to avoid excessive turnover, as this is extremely damaging to the efficiency of a company and, most importantly, the bottom line. The importance of this cannot be underestimated, and therefore considerable investment is needed in the field of data analytics, most notably predictive analytics, in order to highlight employees at risk of leaving the company. Efforts can be then made to resolve the situation and lessen the burden of lost time and money to the company. Gaining these valuable insights through predictive analytics can help save the company in terms of loss of talent along with other cost benefits. It is important to make use of the assets within the company that can help reduce the cost of running that company. There is one asset which remains unlimited, and this is the data a company possesses on its employees and customers. Leveraging the power of this data through the development of a data culture within the firm can have endless benefits, as this asset can be used across multiple scenarios to solve complex problems, including employee retention. From myself, Anish, Ganesh, and Shreya, thank you for your time.